I never loved you, she said, her fingers curled around a glass of wine that wasn't even hers. Now that I'm wealthy, I don't need you anymore. I remember how her lips twisted when she said it, so effortlessly, like she was ordering dessert after a funeral. Just 2 weeks before, she'd inherited $10 million from her uncle, who died of a heart attack. Closed casket. I carried her purse at the service. Now she was trying to delete me from her life like I was a typo in a brand new chapter. There was no discussion, no apology, just a divorce notice, a stack of papers left on the kitchen counter like they were junk mail. I looked at her, then at the house we had poured ourselves into. She didn't realize I had put the deed in my name the year before, used my year-end bonus to pay off the mortgage, quietly refinanced it, thanks to an old college friend who owed me a favor at the bank. I smiled and said, "Okay." She mistook it for surrender. But it was the beginning of something very different. We'd met back in college. She was the sharp-eyed woman with ambitions smoother than silk. I was the guy who still believed love could carry us through anything. We started with scraps, instant noodles, shared bills, one dream between us. Build, grow, win. She studied finance. I wrote code. First came the one-bedroom with peeling walls, then a townhome, and eventually this house. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, hardwood floors. I installed myself. I believed in her more than I ever believed in God. When I proposed, she cried. Told me I was her anchor, her home, her everything. I didn't see the fractures back then. Not at first. Late-night calls she took in the garage. A perfume I didn't recognize. Her phone locked more often. She claimed she was working overtime, but there was no trace of it. No emails, no files. Just silence where love used to echo. Then her uncle passed, and it was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, she was dripping in designer handbags. Her gaze stopped lingering on mine. She moved like someone who had already signed the divorce papers. I found the messages on her laptop. She'd forgotten to log out. He called her his goddess. She called him her backup plan. There were date logs, hotel bills, even an unsent message. Once the money clears, I'll serve him. I'll say I never loved him. It'll be fast. Clean. I didn't shout. Didn't flip the table. I watched her that night at dinner as she laughed like nothing had ever broken between us. I swallowed the betrayal and smiled. Let her believe I was still in the dark. But revenge, I've learned, is a kind of artistry. And art demands patience. First, I made sure the house was secure. Entirely mine, both legally and on paper. The refinance had been for a future business venture. She signed the documents without question. Trust, after all, had been easy back then. Then, I paid a visit to her uncle's lawyer. Said I wanted to thank him personally for all he'd done for her family. We had a drink. He let something slip. The will had a condition. The inheritance couldn't be used to fund or benefit from the dissolution of a marriage within the first year. She had no idea. She'd never even read the will, just saw the money and ran. But I had. I copied the clause and kept it safe. That was step 1. Next, I went after her lover. A spoiled trust fund kid with a high-rise downtown and a DUI that never quite disappeared. I hired a private investigator. Got the works, photos, videos, timestamps. Everything matched up like puzzle pieces. Then I waited. 2 weeks passed. I let her bask in her fantasy. She even started packing up her things, said I could keep the TV, like she was tossing a bone. A kind gesture, she called it. That's when I moved. I leaked the photos. First to her best friend. Then to her parents. Most importantly to her lawyer. Suddenly, her clean, simple exit turned chaotic. Her lawyer dropped her like a hot coal. Her parents stopped taking her calls. Then I rang her. Asked her to come by the house for a final talk. She showed up smug, fully expecting some kind of plea or breakdown. Instead, I handed her an envelope. Inside, the photographs, the clause from the will, and a notarized document revoking her access to the house. You violated the terms of the inheritance, I said calmly. If you divorce me now, per clause 17b, the $10 million is redirected to charity. You walk away with nothing. Her face paled. You're bluffing, she whispered. No, I said. But here's your option, stay married. Fake it for the family. Smile for a year. Then walk away with your fortune intact. And if I don't, I leaned in. Then you lose everything. And your lover, he's already talking. Wants a deal to avoid blackmail charges. I've got the texts. You planning this before the funeral could be considered fraud. She tried to laugh it off. But the sound died in her throat. The next morning she was gone. Quiet. No lawyers. No battle. Just silence. Kept the house. Kept the calm. And every month I sent her a little reminder. A framed photo of the life she could have had if she hadn't gambled on underestimating me. The final scene came a year later. We met at the attorney's office. Divorce, now legitimate. The inheritance untouched. Everything legal and clean. She looked drained. Still rich, but empty. You played me, she said, barely audible. I shook my head. No, you played yourself. I just stayed long enough to win. She reached for my hand. I didn't move. Just stood and walked out. No dramatic goodbye, she already knew the words. People think betrayal is loud. Screaming, slam doors, fireworks. It's not. It's quiet. Cold. Like a whisper in the dark. A blade you never see coming. And revenge. Revenge is precise. You don't burn the house down. You build a better one. And let them watch from the outside, shivering. She thought love made me weak. But I never loved blindly. I loved with purpose. And when the love died, I loved what came after. Betrayal may be an art. But so is vengeance. And mine. Mine hangs framed in the hallway of a home she'll never step into again.